Welcome back to the Cine-Ops podcast, the podcast where every episode I narrate and kind of talk about a different movie. And that's about it. I joke around a little, get to know you, get to know myself. And it's all good vibes. It's all fun. Is your first time here? I'm Alvy. I'm all right. I'm all right. Comment in, let me know where you found me. You know, I begin the numbers, people are coming in, people are listening. Let me know what you like. Let me know where you found me. You found me on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, in the storytelling, in the storytelling sphere, right? In the community of storytelling. Not necessarily the voice acting community, but you know, I'm in there a little. I'm in there too. I'm already starting to sweat. Well, it's officially spooky season is upon us. October. Well, we're already halfway through October. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the last episode I did Ghost. The last movie I did Ghost, and you know Patrick Swayze. He got set up by his buddy. Got murdered. He got set up by his buddy. Now his ghost is protecting his girlfriend and trying to, you know, settle all that unfinished business the way you do when you're a ghost. For this episode, it's a little different because I guess it's kind of like the beautiful thing about an audio, right? About storytelling, that I'm just narrating stories because I'm not doing necessarily a movie. I'm doing a book I read, and it's gonna be the book was kind of long. I don't remember everything, so it's gonna be a real synopsis. The real is summary. Just sum it up. This is kind of what I remember, and the book is the original Frankenstein novel. And the reason I'm doing that is, one, it's spooky season, the horniest of all the seasons. And two, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein's coming out, and that's pretty cool. If you remember the Pacific Rim episode, I did Pan's Labyrinth. That was all directed by Guillermo del Toro, and I told you he's a Mexican director, which I didn't even know that was allowed. So that's pretty cool. So he's doing Frankenstein. He has a whole bunch of cool people, and I hope he does it cool. You know what I mean? I hope he does it well. I remember when I was in 4th grade, I grew up in a small town. And there was a theater, right? There was a theater show in my elementary class. We got to go see it, and they did Frankenstein, and it was cool. It was pretty cool. And now they're doing, you know, there's been a lot of Frankenstein stuff. You know what I mean? Like everyone that's ever seen a cartoon or a TV, we know what Frankenstein looks like. But all that Frankenstein kind of came from different variations of the show or what people thought it was. But in reality, he's not really the green monster with the bolts. He's kind of just like an ugly, disgustingly ugly monster. We'll see how they do it in the show. What have you guys been watching? You know, what kind of movies do you like? What have you been watching? Have you been listening to the episode? I've noticed in my analytics and the stats, a lot of the episodes that I do that do the best are family type movies. The Sandlot, Ninja Turtles, Magnificent Seven. I don't know. Yeah, let me know. Just let me know if I'm doing a good job, I guess. Just please let me know. No, it's whatever. But Frankenstein, right? Let me try to remember. This is really off memory from a book I read a few months ago. And the way Frankenstein starts, it's a young man. I don't know if he's a researcher or an inventor, or he's passionate, and he's on an expedition. He's on an expedition in the Arctic, right? He's on a ship, and he's writing a letter to his sister back home. So the entire book is from a letter from a guy writing sister back home, and he's writing what he's seeing, right? So this is telling us our story. And as he's writing this letter, he's writing to his sisters that when we were on the ice, in the distance, we saw something that looked like a giant man riding a sled of dogs, right? Dog sleds. And he was over there, and we were like, oh, that's crazy, right? We know what's going on. But, and then he's writing to her, telling her all this kind of stuff. You get to know a little bit about him. He's a type of scientist, right? And he's in the Arctic looking because he wants to do his science, do his inventions, or whatever it is. And then out of nowhere, his ship, they rescue someone who was almost dead in the snow. They found somebody who was also on dog sleds, and they bring him up. right? They bring him up. And this is Dr. Victor Frankenstein, right? The creator of Frankenstein. But we don't know this, right? Now we know. Now, 2025, we know a lot of stuff about Frankenstein. But when this book came out, we don't, oh, who's it? This guy? Now he saved this guy out of the snow. And he saves this guy out of his snow. And this guy's actually really smart, right? So the young guy who's writing the letters to his sister, it gets a little confusing. But here, we'll dumb it down because I'm not very smart myself. That's the beauty of it, right? So the young man who's writing to his sister, he saves Victor Frankenstein. He pulls him onto the ship. It kind of helps him get better, right? And they kind of become a little bit of, as a few days go by, he's getting better because he has like a pneumonia or something like that. So he's in bed, and he's like, I think Victor Frankenstein's like, what are you doing out here? What are the odds of someone being able to save me all the way up here? And then, the young guy's like, oh, well, I'm out here doing research for my science and my invention. And he's like, oh, well, you got to be careful. Let me tell you my story of my science. And then, so now we go from the story of the young researcher, the young guy writing a letter to his sister. Now we go to the story of Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is telling the story. So he's like, I was a young man. I was but a young man. 'Twas I, a young man. And he was like a young guy, right? He came from his dad was, they were well off. He was a count? No, he wasn't a count, but, they had enough money, right? And he had a passion for the sciences, and he wanted to be a scientist or an inventor or something like that. And he went to his school. I think he talked a little bit about his childhood, and then he went to school, right? And then, and somehow, in some way, he got a hold of a book. He got a hold of a book. And the book was about reanimating life, right? The study of bringing something back to the dead. And he became obsessed with it, right? He's like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I want this to be my life. This is what I want to do. And he starts looking more into it. He's devoted to this. This is his favorite thing. This is what he wants to do. This is the kind of science he wants to do, right? So he has to learn all kinds of biology and neurosciences, whatever it is. And he goes to school for it, right? And then when he goes to the school, he goes to like this university, and he's a pretty smart guy, right? He does good in school. He goes to a bigger university, and when he talks to his peers about his profession and what he wants to do, they're kind of like, bro, you talking about that lame ass book? Bro, you talking about that lame ass scientist who's lame as, you know what I mean? They're kind of shitting on him a little, and they're like, bro, are you serious, bro? That dude's the worst, or like that the guy who wrote that book is the worst. He was a clown. He sucks, bro. You suck, right? So everybody's kind of shitting on him, right? But he has one friend. He has one guy who was nice to him. And maybe, I don't know if he wasn't nice. I don't know if it wasn't that he was nice to him, but he wasn't judgmental towards him. Or he wasn't mean to him, right? He kind of accepted him and even offered him some advice. Or he said, oh, well, you could check out these books for this and use this lab, whatever it was. So in doing that, he kind of like became his best friend, his good friend. He became his good friend. So now Victor Frankenstein, he's like, a few years go by, he's at the university, he's doing his stuff, and he kind of, gets it all together. He knows what he needs to do, and he's talking to his buddy, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bring a man to life. I'm gonna make a man. We see where this is going, right? What's going on here, boy? We see where this is going. So, in everything that we see, right? All the movies that we've seen, a lot of the movie is around his actual creation of stealing body parts from the graveyard, stealing a brain, doing the lightning to wake him up, and creating this monster. But in the book itself, it's like real quick. He's like, I'm gonna make a man. He's like, oh, all right, I think I can do it. I think I figured it out. And then the next sentence is like, tonight is the night I completed my work. There he is. There he lies. Right. So it's real quick. Like it's like a page. It's not even that deep. Right. They kind of like, okay, now I'm gonna do my studies. All right, I did it. And he's working hard. He did it. He built this guy. I don't remember. I think he talks about what he was thinking when he was doing it. But when he completed his work, right, and he realizes that he created this man, he gave it life, he reanimated this person, he was disgusted. He was disgusted by his work, and he's like, "No, what did I do?" And I don't know if he looks at it and throws up and he runs away. He's like, "What did I do?" He immediately regrets it. But the monster's alive. The monster comes alive. He's like, He's like 7'4", you know what I mean? Or whatever, he's like 8 foot, he's like 7'4" or something. He's alive. And Victor Frankenstein's like, no, what have I done? Curse this creature. Ah! And like, he leaves. Right, like Victor Frankenstein leaves the lab. Frankenstein the monster, he leaves the lab out the window because he's a monster. He's like, doesn't know what's going on, and he's gone. So now Victor Frankenstein's like, what did I do? Right? He's like in deep regret. This is all he's wanted all his life. And now he's like in deep regret. He's like, what have I done? No, the creature. And he created the creature and instantly was like, I'm out of here. He didn't even talk to him, disassemble him, whatever it is. He's like, I'm out of here. I can't believe I did this. I'm out. He cursed the creature. He can't believe his work. The creature runs off, and he doesn't know what to do. And somehow Victor Frankenstein's like, he's like lost. Like a month goes by, or like a week or something goes by, and he gets a letter or a message from his home, which is like, I don't know how far. I don't remember where they're at. They might be Italian or in the Spanish countryside. I don't remember. But anyway, they get a letter. He gets a letter from the house of Frankenstein, right? His family's house. And they're like, yo, come back. Something's happened. You need to come back. And when he gets there, it turns out his little brother was strangled to death. They got him, the little Frankenstein. So he's like, no, what, how? He was just, they're like, oh, he was walking out in the country. He was out in the countryside in the woods. And then we couldn't find him. And then we found him. His windpipe was crushed. Somebody killed him, crushed him. And he's like, what? No, who could have done this? And, in the back of his mind, he sees the face of the monster. He's like, no, there's no way. There's no way the monster could have did this. No, that I just did that. Right? But he doesn't say anything, right? And then they're like, hey, well, the girl that was supposed to take care of him, we found her over here. She has a picture that the boy, the picture of the boy's mom, she did it. So they're like, Victor Frankenstein's like, no, I don't think she did it. But, he can't tell anybody that he created a monster and the monster is targeting him or something, somehow. So he's like, no. But the girl, they like trick her into confessing. So the girl's like, maybe I did. I don't remember. Maybe I did kill that little boy that I was supposed to be taking care of. So they kill that girl. Right? They hang her or burn her, whatever it is. And then what happens? There's like something that happens between there. And, Victor Frankenstein, he's like paranoid. He's the only one that knows he created this monster. And as he looks up, kind of like toward the mountainside, he can see somebody or something like doing parkour off the rocks in the mountain. Or he's like, what's that? Was that my monster? Or like he thinks he's imagining it, right? So now in the book, we're kind of like, well, he didn't really talk about it. Did it really happen? Did he really create a monster? Or is this somehow a psychological thing? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. Eventually, he's like, you know what? I'm going to scale those mountains, right? Because he's at his house, House of Frankenstein, which Frankenstein now is a pretty badass name. So he's like, oh, I'm Emilio Frankenstein. Nah, that doesn't roll. Victor Frankenstein rolls. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Victor Frankenstein. That's pretty badass. But anyway, so Victor, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go up to those mountains and I'm going to verify. I'm going to see what's up for real. So he goes, right? He scales these mountains. And these mountains for a man are dangerous. So like the fact that he saw somebody doing parkour, running up the mountain, hiding, that's like, I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty crazy, right? But Victor Frankenstein, he's scaling this mountain. He's freezing, almost dying. And he makes it to like this area, right? And the monster comes out. And he's like, he talks to him. You are my creator. All I ask is for an audience to tell you my tale. Right? That's what the monster says to, so the last time Victor saw him, he was like, oh, I hate this thing. I'm out of here. Now, they haven't seen each other in a few months, a month or something. And Victor and the monster's like, let me tell you my tale. So Victor Frankenstein follows the monster into the cave. And he has a little fire going, and he starts telling him. So now Frankenstein is telling the story. So it starts off, it's the young expeditioner, right? The young scientist who captured Victor Frankenstein, or saved Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein's like, hey, don't follow your work too carefully. This is what happened to me. And he's telling him the story. And in the story, now Frankenstein, the monster, is telling Victor his story. 3 times. A story 3 times, inside of 3 times. So Frankenstein wakes up. No, Frankenstein's telling his story. And he's like, the night I was created, I found myself alone. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. He was like, I was alone in the wilderness, and I could not understand. But right? He's not he started from zero, right? Zero knowledge, zero understanding. He just woke up. He doesn't really have he doesn't have memory of a past life of whoever he was or whatever, because he's pieces, right? He's pieces of a lot of things. Victor created him. He woke up in the woods, scared, running, and he's learning, right? He's learning where he is. What's that animal making a sound? Oh, that's a bird. Oh, what are these letters? People can talk. And when he tried to talk to somebody, people would scream. They're like, this guy's hideous. This guy's a monster. He's a Frankenstein. No, they're like, oh, this guy's a monster. So pretty much all he knows is he doesn't know anything. But whenever he tries to talk to somebody, people run and hide from him. He's a monster. They pass out. He's so hideous. He's so ugly. He's freakishly tall. He doesn't know what to do. So he's alone in the woods. He's lost. He's scared, even though he's scary. And he says that when he was alone in the woods, he was kind of chilling, hanging out. And eventually he heard people coming and he hid. And then he saw it was a small boy. And when he's like, oh, maybe this kid's so young, he doesn't know that I'm a monster. I'm going to try to be friends with him and talk to him. Oh, whatever. And the kid screams. He's like, no, please. Or something like that, accidentally kills him. That was Victor Frankenstein's little brother. And then the other person came, he hid, he ran, whatever. They're like, oh, there's a monster in the woods. So now there's a tale of a monster in the woods. So he ran away, and he was hiding in the woods. He didn't know what to do. And then he was kind of in the woods, and kind of in the distance, in the fields, there's like a farm, and there's like a small cottage. So he lived in the woods, kind of watching this family. And he said the mom and the dad, they lived with the granddad. The dad was blind, and they were always happy. They would have to go to work, and then the young boy, he would have to be chopping wood all day, and then he'd come home, take it home to his family. Everybody had supper together, and it was beautiful, right? And Frankenstein would just watch them, and he says sometimes he would see what they were doing, see what they would say, and they spoke French or something like that. So by watching them, Frankenstein learned French. So he's speaking French to him or something, and he said some days he would take the axe and chop all the wood for the boy at night. So that way the boy would come out, the wood's chopped, he could just go hang out all day. And he would kind of just watch him from a distance. And he said, wow, in a way, he was kind of connecting with this family. He was part of this family, but he was a monster in the woods watching from a distance, from the tree line. And then he said, you know what? One day I'm gonna come by and while the family's away and only the old man is there, the old blind man, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna talk to him, and since he's blind, he's not gonna be scared. I'm gonna talk to him. Maybe he'll accept me, and then when his family comes home, they're gonna accept me, no matter what. Even if I look like this, is all right. All right. So that's his plan. Frankenstein, the monster. That's his plan. Essentially, he's like this kid. In a way, it feels like he's a kid, right? A lost kid who doesn't understand why everybody's scared, but now he's realized he's a monster. But in his heart, he's not a monster. So he goes, the family leaves, everybody's gone, and he just happens to act like he's a wanderer. He's like, excuse me, monsieur. I think he was speaking French to him. And he's like, monsieur, please. And he's like, oh, hey, old man. He's like, oh, yeah, come on in, sit by the fire. And my family will be home later. Yeah, you can have some bread or whatever. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. Frankenstein's talking to him, the monster. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's because I've been wandering a long time. I've been alone for a long time, this and that. And the granddad's like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. You don't got no family? He's like, no, I kind of lost my dad a long time ago. Kind of like the doctor, right? And I have nobody, but there's this family that I want to be part of, or that I think would accept me. And I just don't think they will because I'm kind of ugly. And the dad's like, oh, I'm sure. He's like, I'm sure you're not that bad. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. I said, no, really, I'm really super ugly. He's like, nah, don't worry about it. And he can hear, and the family's coming up. The family's coming up, and he knows, he's panicking like, yo, if I don't tell this guy right now, the family's going to scream. Everybody's going to panic. So he's like, listen, you're the family that I want to be part of. I've been nearby. I want to be accepted by you guys. I think you guys are cool. All right. And the old man's like, okay, that's weird. And then the family comes in. The woman shrieks. She screams, passes out. The son is like, Dad, get away from that. Dad, get the hell away from that thing. It's hideous. And the old man's like, huh, what happened? And the monster's like, no, please, listen. I just want to be this. I'm nice. And they're like, get away from us, monster. Right? They're trying to fight him off. And pretty much they're trying to hit him, trying to scare him off. And Frankenstein, he gives up. Right? He just wanted to be accepted by this family. He doesn't know anything, but He's a monster. And he runs away. He's crying. I don't know. I don't remember if he was crying, but he was sad. And he runs away. And he's alone again. And he's alone again, and he's cursing his creator. Right? So who would make a monster? Who did this? Who's responsible for my misery? Right? So now the monster, he's cursing the doctor. The doctor. And he's hiding in the woods. He's telling him the story. Right? Frankenstein's telling the doctor the story. The doctor's telling the guy the story. The guy's writing the story to his sister. So the Frankenstein's, he kind of hates him. He kind of hates the monster. He kind of hates Dr. Frankenstein. And he's like, but I'm miserable. You made me. All right. This is my proposal. I'm a monster. I get it. Nobody wants me. I get it. Hey, I get it. Right? That's what the monster's saying. He's like, hey, I get it. But listen, what if you make me a bride? If you make me a bride of Frankenstein, make me a girl. Me and her, since she's a monster, I'm a monster. We're just going to be alone in the woods because we're monsters, right? We can stand the cold. We're fast. We're 7 feet tall. We're monsters. We're going to be over here. And I'll leave you alone. I'll leave everybody alone. No one will ever hear or see from me again. I just hate this misery that I'm in, right? That's what the monster's saying to Frankenstein. And Frankenstein's like, how dare you, monster? How dare you set these terms to me? So Dr. Frankenstein's like, no, I don't know. And somehow maybe he's so angry. I think he was like, fine, I'll do it. Give me a month or whatever. All right, I'll do it. Right? Because I don't know. He went in there so angry, right? So angry because his little brother died. Everything's going bad. And Frankenstein tells him everything. I guess he feels a little bad. He is responsible. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. And then Frankenstein's like, all right, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you from a distance. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, Dad. So he leaves, right? He leaves, climbs down, and he's pissed, right? And he's starting to do the work, right? He's starting to create a female Frankenstein. And as he's working, he's almost done. And he's like, you know what? No. What am I doing? No, I can't complete this. What if this Frankenstein, this girl Frankenstein talks him into not leaving us alone, and then they want more stuff. And no, I can't do it. And he stops his work. He stops his project. He stops doing it. He stops building the Bride of Frankenstein. And in the distance, you can hear Frankenstein yelling, like, no, like in the mountains or whatever. And so Victor Frankenstein's like, yeah, there's nothing he could do, whatever. I don't care. And he said he saw somebody in a rowboat rowing away fast as hell, boy. Because, Frankenstein's super strong. So he rows away super fast. And he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. All right, I'm done with this. I'm out of here. And then, I don't remember, he's sailing somewhere. He lands, and the town arrests Dr. Frankenstein. And they're like, yeah, you're the one that murdered that guy because you're the only stranger here. You just happen to, we just found somebody murdered over there. Somebody say they saw the bad guy sailing away. You're the only guy. You're a stranger. You're a sailboat. You're going to jail. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? No, I just got here. No, I didn't murder anybody. And they're like, yeah, you did. We don't even know who this person is that he's murdered. Somebody say they saw somebody row over here super fast and row out of here. It was you, Dr. Frankenstein. But we know. The Frankenstein monster, the monster. And he's like, no, I don't even know who that person is. And then they show him the body of the person that got murdered. And it's his buddy from the university. The one guy who was his friend who didn't judge him about his work and what he wanted to do. His buddy got murdered. And he's like, no. He kind of goes into like a shock. He kind of goes into like a little shock. Doesn't know what to do. Maybe I'm saying this out of order. I don't remember. Maybe he goes into shock. So he's in jail. But then like his dad comes, right? Dr. Victor Frankenstein's dad, he comes, kind of pulls him out. He's like, no, my son was here, this and that. There's an alibi. They let him go. They're like, all right, bro, get out of here. We don't trust you. So then Victor Frankenstein goes home. And then something happens, like the monster comes. And he's like, you stopped my work. That was my only hope at a life for this and that. Now I'm going to be stuck in misery forever. And I'll curse you and I'll be there on your wedding day. I'll be there. This isn't over. I'll be there. And he's like, all right, whatever. Or like, no, he's like, what? What does that mean? No. And then he's like, I don't know what that meant, but whatever. All right, see ya. No, he was more panicky. He was more panicky than that, but he doesn't see the monster again, right? He doesn't see him for a while. His life kind of goes on a little bit. He ends up deciding to marry his childhood friend, right? Because he used to write letters with this girl. He decides to marry this childhood friend. And then on the day of his wedding, I don't remember, there's a shriek from her room or something. They're like, no. They get married that day. And that night, something is like, oh, she screams. She screams. And he's like, no, what is it? What is it? And she's dead. I think she's dead. She's dead on the floor and the monster's in the window. And he's like, I told you I'd be here on your wedding day. Oh, and he runs away. The monster runs away. And he's like, no, monster. Dr. Frankenstein's like, no, monster. I'll chase you to the world's end. I'll chase you to the end of the, I'll chase you forever, monster. I will not rest until I end you, monster. You're my responsibility, monster. Right? So Dr. Frankenstein's life becomes chasing the monster. And he chases him through the woods. He chases him through the mountains. He's chasing him. And then sometimes it looks like he's going to die. Right? He's out of resources. He's been chasing him for so long. And the monster would leave him like a dead rabbit so he could eat it. So he can continue to chase him. In a way, he's tormenting him. This is nothing to Frankenstein the monster. Because he can endure the cold. He could run forever. He's a monster. Yeah, I could do this. I'm a monster. But Dr. Frankenstein, he needs to rest. Maybe he's getting up there in age. I don't know. But he's chasing him, right? He's chasing him to the wilderness. To eventually, he's in the snow. And he has to get a dog sled. And he's chasing him. He can't find him. And he's lost in the snow. He's lost in the water. He's dying. He's toward the end. And that's when he's rescued by the young researcher, right? The guy who's writing the letter. He's rescued. So now this story adds up. Boom. Now that's why Victor Frankenstein's in the snow. He finds him. They become buddies. They're talking about the story. And now Victor Frankenstein's story, the doctor's story is complete, right? He's out in the snow looking for a monster. And then he's like, oh yeah, we kind of saw somebody like that. We kind of saw somebody that was 8 feet tall with the dog sled over there. He's like, oh, he must be near. And then I think he tells him, could you please, I know we just met. You're pretty chill. Could you please carry on my legacy? Can you please carry on my mission? And he's like, I don't know, right? But he says, like, as he's taking care of Victor Frankenstein, right? So now we kind of shift back to the young guy who's writing the letters. He says as he was talking to Victor Frankenstein, he was weak, he was tired, and he died. He died in his sleep, right? That's what he's writing to his sister. And he's like, yeah, so that was pretty sad. He died. Wait, I think I just heard something. Oh, I'll write you another, right? He's writing to his sister. He's like, I'll write you another letter to let you know what happened. I think I just heard something over there. Gotta go check it out. So he goes, and it's the monster. Frankenstein's monster, standing over the dead body of the doctor. And I don't know what it says. And the researcher, he's like, so you're the monster. You're his creation. Yeah, that's me, man. And he's like, no, but now that he's gone, everything I have is over. You'll never hear from me again. No one will ever see from me again, hear from me again. The tale of Frankenstein is over. And in the blink of an eye, the monster's gone. He's gone, and the researcher continues writing. He's like, that was pretty crazy. That whole thing that happened right now, that I wrote the letters for, that was pretty crazy. And that's the original novel of Frankenstein. That's the original Frankenstein novel. It was published in 1818, written by Mary Shelley. 1818? Damn. Written in 1818? That's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool story. You know what I mean? That's what stories are about. You know what I mean? Like, imagine reading this. It came out in 1818. Imagine reading this in probably like 1875. That's like, and you're like, oh my God, what? When did this happen? What? Did this really happen? And then like, imagine reading it again in like if this was 1818, imagine reading it in 1919 or 1918. And then you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. Who could have thought of this? And then reading it at 2018, you're like, oh my God, this story's amazing. Wow, it's so cool. He's writing letters in the story, inside of the story. So that's the original Frankenstein novel. That's the synopsis of it. The summary of what I remember. I'm sure there's like more detailed stuff. I'm sure there's like hidden meanings. There's things I missed, but all summed up, that's what the original novel is. So now you're ready. You can go watch the new Netflix. Now you can watch the new Frankenstein on Netflix and be like, nah, that didn't happen. Oh, word. You could just like be like, no, oh, he was supposed to be writing a letter. Oh, that's not even a dog sled. Oh, that's his buddy from the university. You know what I mean? So now you can go with your perspective of the original novel from 1818. You can go and criticize the new one and be like, that never happened. Oh, that's why they're in the eyes. Oh, what? You know what I mean? That's why we do it. We love stories. We love movies. You love me. You like to hang out. I'm your movie guy. You like to you like to hear what I say, right? You want to know what I got to say about it? Email in. I'm yours. All right. I'm your bud. I'm your storytelling guy. Hey, you storytelling guy. I'm the storytelling guy. Real quick. I used to tell these stories when I was in the Marines, right? I could just remember the stories, just like I remember this one. I remember this one, same way. I would tell it to all my friends. They would gather, right? It was like a campfire type thing, and then I had a first sergeant, and they loved my stories, right? I would be like, whenever we had some downtime, it was chow time. They'd be like, "Hey, hit it! Tell us a story, tell us a movie, whatever it is," and I would tell them, and they would be so hooked. I could see it in their eyes. As I'm standing there, I could look around the crowd, and they're just holding on to every word, right? They just gotta see what I see. What they just gotta see. They gotta know what I'm gonna say next, how the story goes. And that's when I first realized the beauty of a storytelling, right? The beauty of storytelling. That's when I first saw the beauty of storytelling. But first sergeant, right? He didn't know my name. My name was Alvarado. Everybody called me Alvy. He was kind of new. Didn't really work with him before, but he would hear my stories and be like, "Hey, you storytelling guy. Hey, storytelling guy. Tell us a story. Hey, storytelling guy. Tell us a story." He was Salvadorian. He had a super thick accent. First sergeant. He'd been in for like 21 years. He's like, "Hey, you storytelling guy. Tell us a story." And I just get up there. I'll tell him whatever. Sometimes I would start a movie. I didn't even know how it ended. I just made it up, but they loved it. They would listen to me. They would hang on to every word. The beauty of storytelling. The beauty of old stories. Because look, that came out in 1818. I'm telling it to you now, right now. Now you know. We're connected with Mary Shelley. It's a full circle, kind of. I think it is. And I think that's pretty cool. You imagine? Can you imagine Mary Shelley writing this in 1818 or having it published in 1818? She doesn't know that one day this guy over here in San Diego, he's going to talk about it on his podcast, and he's going to maybe bring more eyes to it. Maybe people are going to want to look into it. Maybe people are going to like that stuff. So in 1818, Mary Shelley, this one's for you. Hey, Mary, this one's for you. Shout out Mary or her estate, whoever's around from them. Shout out Frankenstein. Shout out Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Frankenstein on Netflix or whatever it is, but I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you guys thought of this. This was the first episode where I did a book, and that's pretty cool. A lot of times the book is a little better. Another book that I read the original I Am Legend. Should I just go into it right now? No, but that's the beauty of storytelling. All right, it was a movie. You saw it in your own head. Maybe you picture the Frankenstein, the green guy from the movie. Maybe you pictured yourself as Victor Frankenstein. Maybe you pictured yourself as his buddy from the university. It's all good. It's all you. Do whatever you want with it. I'm Alvy. This is a Cine-Ops podcast. And I'll catch you on the next one, all right?